Alrighty, ladies, I hope we are doing well. Today, we're going to be talking about the 8 things that you must know before going no contact. And no contact is so powerful. So, we're going to be going through all those benefits. Personally, I was in an affair for many years. And if you're someone that is in an affair right now, as the other woman, the mistress, and you've been doing this yo yo effect of breaking up or saying that you can't do this anymore, wanting to cut ties, but then constantly going back, then no contact is an extremely powerful technique, tool, or something that you implement in order for you to create lasting change for good. So, breakups in general are painful. This is an extremely challenging experience to be going through. All breakups can be painful, and all breakups have a different element of pain or the meaning that you attach to the breakup. Affair breakups can even have a stronger element of challenge because you're facing this loss of someone that couldn't even give you their all to begin with. So there's an element of you facing the fact that you are not enough, you are not worthy of being chosen. And that in itself can make you crave the affair relationship even more than you would if you weren't going about that jealousy and that confrontation of him going back to his partner or going to someone else. You're not being chosen. And it's really important to understand that, because when you would probably know when you can't have something, you want something more. And we want to be clear here. Is this dynamic something that is serving you in the long run? Is it creating the overall happiness and fulfillment that you want long term? And if you're listening to this video, then you may be on the verge of wanting to end it and wanting to end it for good because you can't handle the pain anymore that you're going through. So I've got 8 things for you to consider before going no contact, and really the power of no contact. I've got a bit of a list here to keep me on track. Okay, so first of all, I just want to quickly touch on what no contact is. And if you've had breakups in the past, you may have not even needed to implement this no contact rule. I speak to so many women that say, I have been in a marriage before. I have been in many long-term relationships before. And going through the breakup of this affair is more painful than anything I have experienced before. It doesn't even come close. The pain of my past breakups don't even come close to the pain that I am experiencing in this affair dynamic. And so that in itself is really a pattern that I see a lot and says so much about what you are facing while going through this experience. And yes, it may be very challenging, and you have the ability to move through it, and the strength that you're going to gain through going through this process is going to be invaluable. So, no contact in itself. What is no contact? No contact is essentially choosing a period of time to cut all ties from this person. And I mean all. This is you choosing to commit to saying, I am not being in contact with you at all for this period of time. And this period of time could be something like 2 months, 60 days. I personally recommend 6 months. It takes a while it really depends on how long your affair has been going on for, but it does take a while to get over someone that you have been chemically and intimately bonded with. And so I personally think the longer, the better for you to really heal and grow from this experience. And there may be a part of you that is not committed to cutting the ties in itself. And that in itself means that there's a part of you that's unclear on what you really want. And so if you have been yo-yoing, it's really important to get clear on what is it that I want and get so much clarity around that, because that's going to help you in taking the action that actually lasts and actually sticks. Because if you have been going back and forward, there's a part of you that's not clear on the outcome that you want. And so in cutting these ties, everyone's experience is so different. And so it's important from all these videos and the videos that you're watching on YouTube, you pick the pieces that really sit with you and align with you, and just let go the pieces that don't. And with your affair dynamic, it's going to be completely different compared to the next person that's in an affair. You might have a lot of ties that are keeping you in connection with your affair partner, which can make it really hard to really heal and move on for good. So they might be your boss, they might be in your workplace, they might be your kids' friends, and the parents of your kids' friends. And so you might be extremely connected in school or in friendship communities. They might be in the church, they might be in your sporting community. And it's important to understand that you might have really strong connections, and even if you cut ties, so back to the no contact, it means no text messaging, no phone calls, no emails, no social media messaging, no social media interacting. And this is a big one, because a lot of people that I talk to are like, yeah, I'm not I still am friends with this person, and I'm still on a good page with this person. So I don't want to suddenly be like, I am not even liking your posts and stuff. And it's important when you're going no contact to literally clear your environment of this person. Just like you were cutting alcohol, it's important to get all alcohol temptations out of sight, out of mind. And so I highly recommend you taking them off your social media, even the close connections off social media, or hiding them so they're not popping up on your page anywhere that you will see them hanging out with friends through your social media. Any of the connections, it's important to cut them off, because this is really going to boost your recovery so much quicker. And then so back to cutting connections in your community, in your personal life, if you do come in contact with them, this is really a personal choice. If you're someone that has been in this dynamic for ages and nothing's changing, maybe you have to create radical change. You have to change your environment. Maybe there is a conversation that needs to happen with the kids hanging out and potentially changing their schools. Yes, it is uncomfortable. Yes, it may sound dramatic. And yes, it will work. At the moment, if you've been in an affair for 2 years, 5 years, 11 years, you are choosing either to make a dramatic change that may not make sense to everyone around you, or choosing to stay in this affair for years longer. Do you want to choose your happiness long term? Will it make sense to everyone? No. And maybe this isn't the way that you go. Maybe you don't feel that that is the right step. And if that isn't the right step, how can you make choices that are going to be in alignment with the best possible outcome of you creating growth and change that lasts for good? So if you are in contact in your communities, how can you limit that contact? And one of the things that I want to really discuss is a lot of the ladies that I talk with go through this period where they cut contact, block them on their phone, cut contact on their social media, but they haven't actually had the conversation with their partner that this has got to stop, and I am actually moving forward from here. And the reason this often happens is because we don't actually want to draw the line and step over it and end it for good. That is painful, and that actually means I'm committed to this change. And so this one step back of committing to this change, this easier option is I'm just going to take the action without actually saying anything, because then if I fail, I never actually said anything. I just had a period of time where I was trying, but deep down I felt like I probably would go back. So I'm not going to say anything. And like for me, when I was in an affair, I was in this affair for 7 years, and I said no more all the time. I said, this has got to stop. I said, never again, all the time. And eventually I couldn't say those words anymore, because I was beginning to feel like I was a person that wouldn't follow through with my word. And no matter how much I wanted the affair to end, I didn't believe in my ability to actually end it and follow through with that. And so when we're kind of sitting at that place in this affair dynamic, then it's easy to be like, I am just not talking to you. I am limiting conversations, or I'm limiting sexual experiences and encounters with you, in the hopes that this is going to change the dynamic moving forward. But you're not actually saying, listen, I am dead serious about this. I am not participating in an affair dynamic anymore. I am choosing not to do it. I'm not entertaining. And I ask you to respect my decision in that and to help me with following through with that. And by you helping me, that looks like you also not doing contact with me, you also not reaching out with me. If I want to reach out to you in 6 months' time, I will, but I ask you not to reach out anymore. And by saying that, that's really drawing a line in the sand of I will no longer have this person anymore in my life. And that's not really something that you may want to hear at all, at all. And so instead of facing that conversation, you do something a step diluted in order for you to not have to face the fact that I can't do this anymore. I'm not willing to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. So you dilute it in the hopes that either one, they will continue to reach out to you because you want them to care for you. You don't want to participate in it. You don't want to participate in it anymore, but you don't want them to stop caring for you and reaching out to you. And so one thing that I would recommend you do is if you're listening to this and you're like, okay, I want to turn this off because there is no way that I'm actually drawing a hard line in the sand. That is okay. That is okay. There's this massive fear of wanting change, but not actually wanting to have to break it off, or wanting change and wanting help, but you don't want to speak up about wanting help because you don't want the person that you're going to tell, like your friend or something, to say that is unhealthy, you need to leave. And you might not be ready to leave, and that's okay. It's okay to be at that place. And I'm not saying you need to leave by any means. I'm not saying you have to suddenly cut the ties and never talk to them again. This is about you coming to a place in yourself of finding out what is best for me moving forward to support my growth, and really moving in alignment with that and taking action from that place. Not taking action from a forced place that is uncomfortable, although uncomfortable might be the journey to you finding your comfort. But it's important to really notice that resistance, because when we feel that resistance, often that stops us from reaching out to our best friend or someone in our community, or a therapist or someone, because we fear that they're going to say, you need to leave. That's unhealthy. And deep down, you might not be ready for that. So I just want to quickly acknowledge that for this video, we are talking about going no contact. So if you are in that place where you are feeling like you don't want to do it anymore, we're going to be going over that. The next thing that I want to discuss is intent. And I want to be clear around your intention for going no contact. And this intention is really going to set the foundation for how you feel moving through the no contact phase. So if your intention is that you hope that they're going to come running back to you, that they're going to, by you pushing them away, they're going to come back stronger. If your intent is that, then most likely you're going to experience a lot of pain while going no contact, because you're going to be constantly waiting for them to try harder or for them to show up differently. And that is not the intent of what we want to be focusing around no contact. No contact is the ability for you to have space to heal, for you to have time alone, to be able to disconnect from the hormonal changes, the connection, the bond that you have, and be able to step aside so that you can feel whole in yourself and be able to make decisions from that point. It's not about trying to create this stronger connection or try to manipulate. And this is coming from a place to protect yourself. You're not intentionally trying to manipulate, but if you're wanting to do this in the hopes that he shows up differently, then the intention is off, I feel. It's important for no contact to be coming from a place of, this is not serving me and I need to find myself. And to find myself, I need to disconnect our connection so that I can be by myself for a period of time to find out what it is that I want, to disconnect from the hormonal ties that we have and the bond that we share, so that I can really get clear on myself. So it's important to be clear on that intention. Coming from this personal growth point of view, as opposed to hoping to get them to get back at you, or even revenge. The pain that you have experienced from being this other woman, you might secretly deep down want them to experience the depth of pain that you have felt, because maybe they're getting their cake and eating it too and getting all that they need and not actually hurting through this process. So there might be a part of you that's really hoping that they understand the extent of pain that you feel through this experience. And that's natural. That's natural. It's okay that you experience that. And it's important for you to get your intention clear around why you're going no contact for your own healing. For your own healing. Why do you want to do this? Is this place coming from personal growth, self-inquiry, as opposed to trying to control the situation? Because if it's coming from control, then it's not actually going to serve you moving forward. Okay, so the first thing that I want to cover of you going no contact, and something that you must know, sorry, I've got hiccups, is to be clear that it's over. This is the biggest thing. If there's a part of you that's still keeping your foot on level 1 when you're wanting to step to level 2 in life, or keeping your foot on first base when you're wanting to go to second base, whatever the analogy is that serves you, if you're still half in, half out, it's not going to work. And that's why you keep coming back and going forward and not actually creating the change. Is it's important for you to be like, no, it is over. I am choosing to commit to this no contact phase in order for me to really get clear on moving forward here on in. I haven't been able to create the change from the past in the years gone. And so this time I am truly committing, and case closed. I close the door after this. Like, I'm not going back. I'm not changing. Whatever it is, I am choosing to go no contact. And I ask you not to reach out through that period of time. It's important for you to be 100% clear, because if there's any part of you that's still keeping your foot in the relationship, then you'll go back. You'll cut no contact. And so make sure that before going no contact, you're really committed on making this change so that you can follow through with this outcome. The second thing that I want to talk about is don't end it half-heartedly. And this is the same as the one before, is we fear setting that boundary because we fear losing the love. And if you're someone that feels like you have never had someone love you like this before, then it's scary. Or you fear that he'll just go back to his partner and kind of forget about you forever. It's scary creating this boundary. It's scary to not have that person to call on at the end of the day, or to message, or to have them say good morning, or all these things. It's scary to lose that love. And it's even scarier because you're breaking a connection that's not, you're not like, you may not be fighting and going through all this pain that some relationships go through on a breakup. You might still very much love this person, just not love the dynamic. And so it's really important for you to end it fully and not half-heartedly. And it's easy to do it in a half-hearted way because you still have a connection. You still share a bond. It's scary cutting this boundary. So make sure that when you end this, you are being clear on ending it. And one of the things that I want you to do is, and this is my third point, is language is everything. When you're making this decision to cut the affair, it's important to come from the words I am choosing to do this. I need to do this. I'm going to do this moving forward. I need you to not contact me as well, and to respect that boundary, as opposed to we need to end this. When it's a we dynamic, it's open to negotiation. When it's a we dynamic, you're a team making a decision. And in this scenario, this is you choosing to create the freedom and fulfillment that you want in your life moving forward. It's you choosing what you want to stand for in relationships, to have in a partner. And by doing that, it's important to say, this is what I am choosing to allow into my life. I am not getting that from a fair dynamic, and I don't want to choose that because that doesn't align with my morals and my values. And so it's important to use language that is fully committing to the change. And I want to be clear here. You don't have to have the perfect language set out to have this conversation. It's just important for you to notice the dialogue that you are speaking to him, and noticing when you're softening it or diluting it, because you don't want to actually hear the words, I don't want you to ever contact me unless I do. Because deep down, you might want them to try really hard to contact you, because If they do, that means they care about you, and that means that they hurt from this experience, and then it means a lot to them. And so to remove that from them and to ask them not to do that can be a hard one to swallow. And so it's important for you to really watch your language when setting this up. It's important to know, where am I diluting this? Because where you're diluting this means that you're not drawing a hard line in the sand saying this is no contact, which means, again, this is where it can be easy to yo-yo back and forward because you haven't been clear. And if you're not clear, he's not clear. So I want to be clear on that one. So that's the first three. I want to go into the next one, which is he may start showing up differently. And this is an important one because as soon as you're committed, you might have tried to break it off in the past, and he might have felt you. You might have said no more, but energetically, he may have felt that you weren't serious, because energetically, deep down, you may have not been serious. And so when he sees that you're serious on this change moving forward, and no means no, and no means I am committing to this, and I ask you to respect that, he may completely show up differently. And when he shows up differently into a man that you've never seen before, this may lower your guard. And when your guard is lower, that could allow room or water under the bridge, or room for you to lower yours and go back to him. And this is often where intimacy gets deeper. And that can be extremely confusing, because every time that you go through this together, your bond is getting stronger. And so you're getting stronger when you're hurting more. And so it's important for you to understand that in this scenario, he may show up differently. He may show up in a way that you have been wanting for years, and suddenly you're getting it when you're walking away. And it's important for you to stay firm to, what do I want? Have I been getting this in the last few years? If I take away his looks, his words, the way he's been showing up with me, and just look at your emotions through this. Are these emotions that you want to feel on a daily basis? And if it's not, then it's important. Yes, he may be changing, and yes, I need to commit to this change. I need to commit to this change, because if he changes, then it could resort back to his old ways, which is him at his core. And ultimately, again, you've gone through the dynamic for another 6 to 12 months without feeling like you've fully ever changed anything. So be prepared for him to change, and know that it could be tempting, but know that I need to move forward in this outcome and this decision so that I can respect my desire moving forward. It may be tempting, and your freedom is more worth it. So that's number 4. The number 5 one is, it won't be easy. And it's important to know that breakups aren't easy. If you're wanting to go about this whole experience in a place to avoid pain, then you're going to be avoiding the pain in the short term, but experiencing long-term pain. And so it's important for you to go easy on yourself and know that this isn't going to be easy. This isn't going to be hard. And yes, it is going to be so worth it. So worth it. And so it's important for yourself to have empathy, compassion through this time. And to help soften this, I truly recommend having some people to talk to so that you can digest this aloud instead of allowing all the emotion inside without getting expressed. So if you have some friends that you can just digest and have that support, yes, it's not going to be the same as your affair partner. And this is a period of time that you have to go through. Allow yourself that experience to go through that pain. Allow yourself the opportunity to experience this pain, because this pain is the pathway to your deeper healing and your freedom long term. So don't think that you could avoid this pain. It's going to come if you're going to go through a breakup. And if you're wanting to avoid it, it could be a long path to you actually breaking it off for good, because you're kind of tiptoeing around ripping the Band-Aid off instead of actually being like, I commit to this change, and it's going to hurt, but it's going to be one that works and serves for me in the long run. Okay, so the next thing I want to cover is you are detoxing. You are detoxing. It's important to understand that you are literally going through withdrawals. Just like any drug, love can be the biggest drug of all. And oxytocin is the love hormone, and this increases feelings of attachment. So you are literally detoxing from this hormone, or from him meeting this hormone. And so that is not easy. You're going to go through a lot of withdrawal symptoms while your hormones readjust. Also dopamine, you call, you text, you see each other, you see his smile, and you get a dopamine increase, all of these things. And now you're going to have to go get dopamine from sweets, which is okay in the short term. If it's helping you move forward, then it's okay. But it's important to understand that you're getting many hormones met through this person. And when you suddenly cut ties from this person and go no contact, it's literally like going cold turkey on sugar, on alcohol, on smoking, all these things. And so that is not easy in itself. And it's important to understand that this is a detox phase, and there's going to be parts of yourself that is going to want to give in because of the cravings that you have. And it's important to understand this, because when we can understand this, we can understand why it is so hard to go through this breakup, is because it's not just on a conscious level, but it's on a hormonal level as well. And one of the things to help you go through this is I recommend you record a recording on your phone when things are really hard, or when you're feeling really high as well on, I am no longer committing, I'm no longer willing to settle for this. When you're feeling in a good place, or when you're feeling in a hard place and you're like, I can't do this anymore, this is too painful, I keep going back and it's hurting me, it's killing me, all these things. Record when you're in that state of empowerment, like I'm moving forward, or in that state of this is too painful, I've got to change. Record yourself so that when you are going through these withdrawals, you can open up your phone, watch the video of why you really need to commit to this no contact change. And that can give you a boost on staying strong when every part of you wants to crumble and fall into going back and connecting with him. But just know that this is a withdrawal, and it will take weeks for you to get through this. And give yourself compassion while you are going through this. It's not easy, and it will be easier with time when your body readjusts its hormones on a healthy in a healthy way moving forward. Okay, the seventh one is you will get perspective, and this is a massive one. When we are living in our stories, we can't actually see out of the experience that we're experiencing, because we're replaying this experience in our mind up front, and we can't see out. And so something that I always recommend ladies do that I work with is go out in nature, get outside of your environment, go away, and this will help bring the clarity. And you may have noticed this when you go for a hike, you get out in nature, or you walk away from the experience that you're in just for a little time, or do something different, you suddenly are like, oh my God, what am I doing? This is hurting me. Why am I staying in this? And you get the clarity. And so that in itself is just like going on a hike. But by going no contact in general, you will get so much perspective on your scenario that only will come once the hormones start to wear off and the withdrawal phase is not so strong anymore. And so it's important that this time is so important, because you're making decisions together through this affair relationship and really stuck in the story. And so it's important to get outside of the story, and no contact gives you that. It's so powerful. And it comes with time. It comes with the pain of going through the breakup. But trust me, the perspective is everything. It is life-changing. And then the last one I want to go through is it allows you to heal faster over time. And you'll rediscover the parts of yourself that you have literally put off to the side. whether it's your friendship communities that you're no longer fully entertaining, your family relationships, which you've kind of put on the back burner, your health, your physical activity that you might have put on the back burner, all these ways that you get joy in your life, you may have kind of put in the back because you've been so invested in this emotional connection of this affair dynamic. And so when you cut ties, and after you go through that phase of healing, you'll start to begin to go, oh my gosh, I have all this time for this. And oh my gosh, I hadn't been entertaining physical fitness or these connections with these friends, which I'd kind of put on the back burner because I was so invested in this affair relationship. And this is healthy. This is healthy to rediscover these parts of you which you may have lost. And it can be the biggest benefit. And in a healthy relationship, you don't lose those parts of yourself, and you may have lost them due to the intensity of this affair dynamic. It can really suck you away. I know for sure I lost like so much of the connections with my family, with my fitness, with the way I chose to think as a person changed because I was really swept up in this whole dynamic that wasn't serving me. So yeah, I just want to quickly touch on, like, for me, when I went no contact, so I had broken it off and I was still staying in contact. And that's why it's so powerful to end it for good and to go fully no contact, is because it turbocharges your healing. It really boosts it. And for me, I had ended it and was still staying in contact. And that contact was unhealthy. It was just stressful. It was really just sucking me in. And although there was a part of me that felt so free, there was also a part of me that was having this responsibility around this affair dynamic that had ended. And someone told me, you need to go no contact. And I was like, we still have a good relationship. I don't think there's any necessity in doing that. And I was in denial around that because the freedom that came with going no contact, and the real personal growth that came with going no contact, and the healing that came with going no contact was invaluable. So if you're thinking about going no contact and you are in an affair dynamic, or you've ended it but still in contact, or you're still thinking about him, all these things, you could have ended it, but you still have him show up on your social media and it's been years and you haven't gotten over him. All these things, it really doesn't matter where you are in this dynamic. Essentially, if you're watching this video and you're still energetically invested, then there can be so much power in going no contact. And the very fact that you could be scared about going no contact, and that you could have resistance to wanting to go no contact, is the very reason why you need to take action on no contact, because there is a part of you that's like, I can't let go. And letting go is the biggest part of you experiencing your personal healing for good. So I leave you with that. If you're in an affair dynamic, it's not easy. And I send you all my love, and know that we are here to support you on this journey. I hope that helps. If you have any questions about no contact, then you're welcome to reach out. Bye for now.